today I'm going to make some chicken. These are chicken cutlets from Publix. So what I'm gonna do first is obviously cut them out the package. I'm gonna set aside some water to boil with some vinegar and salt in it. Maybe like 2.5 caps of these. And just eyeball it, just a little salt. Put it on the stove to boil. I already cleaned out my sink earlier. So I'm going to wash them off. I usually wash them with lemon, but because I don't want it to have that lemony taste, so the kids can eat it, I'm just gonna wash it off. That's why I'm boiling it with the water. I'm gonna slice these afterwards. And whatever remaining fats that are on there, I usually get skinless, so I don't have to clean them too much, so which is good. Usually, if there's any remaining fats, I'll just cut them off. Throw in the trash. So while the water is boiling, I'm gonna let them sit and wash in water. Let them sit in here for a little bit. I use the other side to wash my hands because I'm going to do other stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna, while that's boiling, I'm gonna use, rarely use canned black beans. Usually my mom sends me organic black beans, or I buy the black beans in the package, and I usually let them basically marinate and boil in the water, but today I'm not doing that. I'm doing something quick and easy for the kids. My kids love black beans, so I'll be very careful. You can cut yourself. I've done it before. What I'm gonna do is now drain this. Wash this out real quick. And then I'm going to pour the water that's in there and rinse out the beans and put it in this big pot. Now I'm gonna fill this up, and I'll show you about like 2-3 cans. Wait when that fills up. And this is the seasoning I made earlier today. So I'm gonna put one, probably like two of those big ones. I don't know how many cups that is, so let me see. You can measure here. So that's 4 cups right there. About 5 cups. So basically 7 cups of these. Well, not 7 cups, but 7 cups. And this is 4. I mean, not 10, sorry. Oops. So 8. So yeah, 10 cups. So 4 cups of this, another 4, and then 2 more, and then 2 cups. So I'm gonna throw that out. Now what I'm gonna do, oops, something fell in there. What I'm gonna do now is add 2 spoons of these. If you saw my last video, it's in there. So I'm gonna put 2 of these in there. I'm still gonna add a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna put it on boil. So put it on high to boil. After that, while that's cooking, I'm gonna cut up some onions to put in the, I do mine very simple. If you guys wanna try different things. Sometimes I like to freestyle my food. Sometimes I don't know what I put in it, but just like when I make spaghetti, it never tastes the same. So I cut these in 4. And just throw them in the pot. As so. I can show you guys. You see? So that's gonna boil. That's what it looks like. And then now I'm gonna cut up some garlic. Garlic is always good for you. It's healthy. I put it almost in everything I make. Smaller knife. So I'll just cut it, cut the tips. And there you go. I'll put a couple of these, like maybe 4 or 5 cloves. Don't worry, it's not gonna taste fully like garlic, so it's not the taste I'm going for. Not when I'm making black bean sauce. So in our language, the Haitian language, we call it sosqua. It's one of my favorite dishes. Usually make it with legume, which is like a bunch of vegetable, or you can say legume, a bunch of vegetables mixed together. I can make a video of that. Gotta be careful with some of these garlics. Sometimes they go bad fast if you don't use them right away. think that's pretty much it for me. I'm not gonna do any more garlic. That's probably like 2 or 3, I think. So what's gonna happen next, now that the water is boiling, I'm gonna add a little milk since it's chicken cutlet. I want to keep the chicken soft. So add a little milk to it. Not that much. So it looks like this. Just let it boil a little bit. Then I'll show you how to make the rice. So since the water is boiling with the milk, I'll bring over the chicken so it can cook in there for a little bit. And then, while that's doing that for let it sit there for about a minute or two. Wash my hands again. While that's doing that, I'm going to make some rice. Now, not every rice is the same. Not everybody cooks their rice the same. So I am making this type of rice. This is the rice I use. It's called Madame Goose. So I like this rice. My kids like this rice. You just have to know how to cook it right. I'm gonna move the black beans to the back of my stove. And now I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to make some rice. So what I'm gonna do first is, I'm running out of some oil. I need to get some. I still have my groceries on the floor. So I got some oil. So, if you're watching, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count like 10 seconds into it. I don't want to put it too high because it's boiling. So now I'm going to take a spoon of my seasoning that I made. Since the spoon doesn't fit, gotta get another spoon. So I'm gonna bring 1 spoon of this. The oil's too hot, so now I have to wait a little bit. When the oil's too hot, it will burn and simmer the seasoning, and you don't want that. All right. Now I'm gonna take my chicken and pour it in the sink and let it sit there and dry out a little bit. So I put it in there while it's cooling, so I don't have to worry about it burning. There you go. You can add just a little bit, because this already has salt. Just add a little bit because it's going to be diluted with water. Not that much, like a sprinkle of salt. Because you're going to have to taste the salt, taste the water after. Let that cook in there. It smells really nice. While that's cooking a little, now I'm going to add the water. Be very careful. So right now, where's my cup? This is at 4 cups, so I'm going to add some more. I'm going to make about 6 cups of this. I try not to make too much rice because I don't want my rice to go bad. I'm going to put 6.5, so I'm going to put a half a cup. All right, I'm going to let that boil. I usually taste the water first. See if it has some salt to it. It's perfect. So I'm gonna let that boil. So we're gonna come back over here, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have my chicken. So I'm gonna slice my chicken in a few pieces. I'm just cutting them to make chunks. The house is quiet. No kids right now. So, once I do that, I clean off my cutting board real quick. Then I gotta clean it off afterwards. So now, the seasoning I have. Put a spoon and a half in there, and that should be all. I'm gonna put 1 pack of Saison into it. So I'm gonna mix this first. Mix it well so all the pieces get some seasoning. You know, nobody wants to be left out. See how well seasoned that is? Yep. Add some Saison on it. Sprinkle a whole packet. There we go. Nice and orange. I'm gonna make a sauce with this. I'm gonna let that marinate for a little bit. Wait for my rice to boil. So while that's sitting there marinating, I'm not gonna put it in the fridge because I'm gonna use it right away. So, and I will be back. Well, y'all, I'm back. Time to make the rice. Let me show you how this water is boiling. Ooh. And it smells good. Sorry for the close up. Not sorry. Yeah. So this one, I just usually eyeball. So I put it in my glass bowl. I think that should be enough. That could be a little too much too. So I'm gonna take probably some of this back and put it back. If I need to get back, then I'll bring it back. All right, so what I do next, I wash it. If you choose to wash it, by all means wash it. If you don't wash it, I just feel like when you wash it, it tastes different versus being unwashed. So I'm washing it and I use my hands. As you can see, you take all the rice out. And then I use this. I drain it. I leave a little water in there. And then I go over, and please be careful. This is for people who are well experienced. Yeah. I need a little bit more rice. So give me a second. Probably the same amount I took out is probably going to go back in. But I wanted to make sure. I got to hurry up though. Do the same thing. Wash it. Add the water. Follow me again. And we're back over here. So we're gonna pour the remaining rice. This should be enough. Once I spread it out, it should be. All right, take my spoon, spread it out. See, you're already getting hard at the bottom. So it's an old trick that some people use. Well, I'm just thinking the Haitian culture, I think, or other islands. We'll see. See, there you go. You see how the spoon stays? That means it's enough rice in there. So now what I'm going to do is put a top on it. See if this is the right top. I'm gonna leave it on high just for a little bit, as you can see. Put on number 9 just for a little bit, and then I'm gonna reduce the heat. So I'm done with this. This can go away now. So while that's cooking, what's gonna happen next? Chicken is still marinating. Gonna put that to the side. And now I'm gonna get the blender ready. All right, let's get this blender ready. So now I'm gonna check to see if the bean is good. Let's see, where's the spoon at? Oh, let me rinse off my spoon. If the beans are soft, you're ready to roll. Gotta be mushy. You know, like mushy. But I'm not gonna squish it with my hand because it was too hot. Now we're gonna use the blender, so it's going to get loud. So what I'm going to do is I have my scooper, or that's what I call it anyways. So I'm gonna take all the big pieces of onions that I had in here and place it in here. It can get a little messy, so make sure you have a towel with you. And please be careful. It does get, it's very, very hot. So I'm gonna get some beans in here. Get the onions, get the garlics. If you see them floating, grab them. Try to get as much beans in there. Some people like the beans in it, so do half and half. Blend half the beans, or and then leave the rest in there. My kids don't like all the beans in there, so I gotta blend like half the beans, majority of more than half the beans. So now I'm gonna place this. Like I said, be very, very careful. Make sure it's locked in. I would recommend to put a towel over, because sometimes the water can splash, and you don't want it to splash on you, so I always tell people just be careful. So here we go. So it's strained. Some people strain it. I don't. I don't know what's the point of straining it, because you're taking out the bean skin when you should be eating the bean skin. But whatever is your preference. I'm gonna pour it back in. And I'm going to repeat the step. So I'm going to try my best to find some garlics in here, if I see them. Some people like to put cloves in them. Well, in our culture, I think cloves for me are death. I don't like to taste it in my food. They say it gives it flavor. I don't see how it does, because it tastes nasty. So I do it my own way, and it still comes out the same and it tastes the same. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna simmer down the rice down to number 5, because I don't want it to burn. So I'm gonna put it between 4 and 5. I don't release the top unless when I'm ready to take it off. I think I got mostly all the garlics and stuff like that. Even if a strand is hanging around, it's not that big of a deal. You can still eat it. It's gonna be good. It's just my kids are picky. So now I'm gonna put this on there. Same process. I just pour it back in. Should be all set. Now I'm gonna spin it around. But now I gotta taste it. Hot. And that's what you call a good sauce broth. I like my bean sauce a little liquidy. But if you prefer it to be thick, use a little less water in it so it can be a little bit more thicker. So now that's all done. Now I got dishes to wash, but I'll do that last. So that's that. So now what's gonna happen is I'm going to make the chicken. I got a few more minutes before I go get these kiddos of mine. Now what I'm gonna do is puff up the rice a little bit. I'm gonna puff it up so it doesn't get stuck. You can tell that it's still sticky. So I'm gonna let it sit there for a little and let that marinate. Now I'm gonna get an onion. I always wash these stuff. I always have a sanitized cloth and then I throw it out. Not necessarily throw it out, but put it aside so I can wash it. Oh, this was a bad onion. I just got these. So we'll try this one. That's a good one. This is going to be for the sauce. I like using the big. I'm gonna use some purple onions too to add a little flavor. Just use half of an onion. All right. Everything on low, and I shall be back. Welcome back, guys. I had to go pick up the kids, so sorry about that. So the rice should be almost done. I'm going to check it out. I'm gonna rinse out my spoon. Give me 1 second. See, the rice is not sticking as much, so which is good. That means the rice is close to done. You see how it sticks, but it's easy to come off. That's how you want it. You don't want it to be too sticky. So let me dig in the middle. You see how it's thick? But once I go, it comes off. If you're wondering, why is it so quiet and I have kids? My oldest is reading to them. So now I'm gonna try it out. Perfect. I'm gonna bring it down to simmer. Bring it around like 2, 1.5, 2. So it just sits there now. Now, I know this is a big pot. For some reason I can't find my sauce pots are too small. So I'm gonna make my sauce in here. So I'm gonna move things over a little bit since the rice is fully almost done. I'm gonna move it to the back. So I'm gonna put my pot on. And you know, my chicken's been marinating for quite some time. So I'm going to add some oil. And I usually, everything I use is olive oil. Or extra olive oil. I don't make anything else. I'm not putting too much oil. So then I tend to make my own sauce in a weird way. Some people like to use tomato paste to add coloring and flavor. I pre-cut the onions already. So now it's just waiting. So now I'm gonna add the chicken in there, the cutlets. So don't worry, the pot's not that hot yet, so it's not even close to even being hot. So I'm just gonna add the chickens in there. Usually when I make my sauce, I like using chicken broth, but I don't have any. And then I play it by hand as to far as how I want it to taste. So what I'll do is the juice in here from marinating, I'm gonna add some water into it. And what I'll do is add some pepper. Some Sazon. So this is what I'm using. Some onion powder. Some garlic powder. Sorry about that, you guys, my kids. So you can see it's sizzling. Now I'm gonna add my onion. Now I'm going to add some tomato paste. Not like that much. So it's gonna stick on the meat, the tomato paste, which is fine and it's okay. you what you're gonna do next. The juice, just add it in there. Will dissolve the tomato paste. So I'm gonna let it simmer a little bit. I'm gonna add more water in mine, only because it's not enough juice to it for me because I have a much bigger pot. So I'm gonna let it simmer and then add some water. If I have to add a little bit more flavor, I will do so if it needs to. But I'm gonna let it boil and then taste it first so the juice can be flavored throughout the pot. So I'm trying to see how this tastes. See, it needs more flavor. It needs more flavor. So what I'm gonna do now, instead of adding more seasoning, I'm gonna put a little bit more salt, and that should touch up the taste a little bit. And this is how your sauce should look. And just let it boil on high a little bit and it'll be all done. Voila, I'll show you a picture afterwards.